battered, he doesn't remember how or when he got here and how long he's been unconscious. Suddenly, he sees a stranger in front of him who introduces himself as Benefactor. The new acquaintance claims he can help him and offers the man a job. Kevin refuses, remembering he needs to go home to his wife. Then Benefactor explains that no accident occurred in this world. Calling the police is futile, and they have met far from the first time, because Kevin has shifted to another reality. Benefactor leads the man to a cafe where it seems everyone knows him. Waitress Tina escorts them to the chosen table, although she cannot hide her fear. After a tense conversation at the table, Kevin realizes that Benefactor is actually Satan. The devil mocks Kevin's faith in God, proposing to discuss his marriage when Tina brings the ordered dish. Benefactor orders her to sit next to them, forces her to eat a piece of food, though she is trembling, and continues the conversation about Kevin's wife, Molly, with whom he had argued in the morning over paying bills. The man doesn't remember this, so Benefactor clarifies that an incident looks different from different sides. Because for every choice made by a person, there are countless realities where the choice was different. A choice generates endless possibilities, and therefore realities. And everything a person can imagine in their mind exists somewhere and sometime. Therefore, there is a force that can transfer people between realities, swap people with doppelgangers from another planet Earth, shuffle them. That's precisely what Benefactor does. He has already replaced Kevin's wife, Molly, multiple times. The first time was when Kevin gave her a silly pendant, which Molly's copy threw away. Kevin doesn't believe this nonsense and demands proof. Then Benefactor offers to shift someone. For instance, Tina. Benefactor adjusts some device on his wrist while Tina starts to cry, apparently genuinely frightened. Looking back, Kevin sees her weeping parents and regrets subjecting them to such an ordeal. And when he screams for Benefactor to stop, the girl disappears. The devil explains that she ended up in a world where her parents never met, and thus she was never created. So now the poor girl is in a psychiatric clinic. Kevin doesn't understand why Satan needs him, and he admits he's ready to offer the man anything he wants, provided he becomes one of his shifters, people who have sold their souls and transfer others to alternative universes. Other Kevins made their choice, so only he remains. In desperation, Kevin begins to pray silently for God's help. Benefactor furiously screams, claiming he is undoubtedly better than God, and he will never leave Kevin alone. And the more furiously Benefactor curses, the more fervently Kevin prays until suddenly Satan disappears, leaving Kevin in this reality. Horrified at what he has just done, Kevin apologizes to Tina's family and leaves. But stepping outside, he finds the world has changed. Police and strange masks are everywhere, and there are bans on virtually everything.
Just enjoy the content.
5 years later, Kevin is still in this reality, where most of the planet is destroyed by a constant war, after which the shifters came. At first, they operated secretly, moving between alternative universes and expelling everyone who was inconvenient to the totalitarian regime. Billions of people disappeared, but then came Benefactor, who took away people's hope and faith. This is where he wanted to recruit helpers until Kevin arrived. It was after that illegal prayer that he was declared wanted as Kevin, who refused to work for the devil. After that, Benefactor tried 7 times to make him accept the offered terms, but Kevin consistently refused, enduring physical torments for it. Kevin bandages his numerous abrasions, listening to the Vika Theater advertisement, where anyone can see their doppelganger from another reality, and pondering rumors that the shifters have left this world. No one knows who the shifters are, as they freely walk between worlds and can take any appearance. Kevin's great desire was to obtain their devices for moving between universes, which they wore on their wrists, because then he would have the opportunity to return to his own world. Meanwhile, he goes to work, where he has only one friend, Gabriel. After work, the man goes to the City Gray slums, where the majority of the population lives. People here have nothing, not even hope. Kevin tries to do what he can and help whomever he can. The Holy Scripture is banned, but Kevin memorizes as much of the Bible as possible and distributes it through his friend Gabriel. And he constantly remembers his wife and the birth of his son. But all happy dreams about them end in a nightmare. One day, Gabriel wonders if it was worth expelling Benefactor like that, if Kevin never received any divine assistance. Maybe there was never a God. Kevin reminds him of the scripture pages, but he doesn't believe in the possibility of a coming. After such a conversation, Kevin goes to
Boost your revenue and drive growth with Google Ads. Reach high-value customers across the entire Google network.
to the Vika Theater, whose owner he knows. Russo has been unsuccessfully searching for his lost cat for a long time and is not very happy about the man's arrival, but still allows him to participate in the session. People used to simply want to see themselves happy and came here to forget the bad. But now everyone orders a reality for viewing where they are humiliated and beaten even more than in real life on this planet. Russo doesn't control the visions, he just turns on the equipment. This time he hands Kevin the remote, warning him that his visions are limited by the number of his doppelgangers. And the man starts the session, hoping to see his Molly. He sees himself as a gangster, then a lover, a prisoner, an alcoholic, and suddenly Molly appears on the screen. Kevin jumps up and the session immediately ends. Russo doesn't believe he managed to find his wife, but he still sets a new session time.
Never that.
The man leaves and finds himself in a crowd restrained by police. It turns out, after a long absence, Benefactor has arrived in this world, and the police are shooting everyone without trial who causes disturbances. Gabriel pulls his friend from under fire, and the pair hides in an abandoned house. In the evening, Kevin goes to the store and suddenly remembers how their son disappeared when they went shopping and got distracted talking to friends. The child wandered off and vanished without a trace. Their family couldn't withstand this blow. They started to argue, and Molly became addicted to alcohol. That's when he gave her the medallion with the resurrection symbol, but Molly threw it away. The man runs away and meets his neighbor, who invites him over, introducing him to his wife and 2 daughters. But when Kevin is about to leave, the neighbors suddenly detain him because they recognize Kevin, who refused to sell his soul to the devil. And when he denies it, the girls sing a church hymn for him, bringing Kevin to tears. The neighbors want to know anything about God, and the man recounts to them the parable of Job. Suddenly an alarm sounds, and turning on the TV, people learn about Benefactor's arrival for another recruitment of Kevin. Citizens selected for this mission must arrive at a specified place under threat of death. In the morning, Kevin goes to Russo's Vika Theater again. Russo is frightened by Benefactor's return and lets the man in very reluctantly. Russo is upset. His cat has been missing for 4 years, and he thinks she will never return, although hope still flickers. Kevin sits in the chair and summons visions, and suddenly he sees Molly again. But in this world, she lives with her mother and a little daughter, and on her chest hangs a pendant with the resurrection symbol. Kevin realizes that this is his real Molly, but Russo doesn't know how to find her, especially since Kevin doesn't have a device for moving between universes. Then the man goes to Gabriel and acquires illegal firearms from him, intending to force Benefactor to return him to his former life in the old reality. The next day he sees Benefactor recruiting another newbie in a cafe, but the street is cordoned off and it's impossible to get closer. Waiting until the police are distracted by a fight, Kevin runs into the cafe, but upon bursting inside, he finds himself in his room. He doesn't understand what happened and goes outside, but immediately armed police confront him and the guy returns to his room. He tries a few more times to get to the cafe, but they open fire on him. In despair, Kevin throws away the gun and turns to God. But instead, Benefactor and Gabriel, who denies knowing Kevin, appear in the room. Satan mocks the foolish man who entrusts his writings to some coward. Kevin is still waiting for the coming, but he is not needed by God, and he will never come to him. So he can live well only by coming to Benefactor. Satan also refuses to talk about Kevin's missing son and admits that among all the doppelgangers, only he refused to cooperate. Outside, a scream is heard, and dashing out the door, Kevin sees a police officer shooting his neighbor. Then they open fire on his room. Kevin falls, dropping Gabriel, but the friend is already dead. And then Kevin sees on his hand the device for moving between universes and realizes that he has been one of Benefactor's minions all this time. He removes the device and instantly shifts to another reality, but around him is a desert. Kevin activates the device again and falls into a lake, emerging from which he again realizes that this is not his world. And again, he activates the device. In one of the realities, he ends up in a psychiatric clinic where several shifters with Gabriel's face greet him. He tries to run away from them, but they open fire. Kevin hides, and in one of the rooms, he suddenly sees Tina, who recognizes the man and asks to be returned home to her family. He activates the device for moving again and finds himself in the home of his doppelganger, who accepted Benefactor's offer. Recognizing Kevin, who refused to sell his soul, the doppelganger points a gun at him and tries to take the device. But Kevin manages to shift back to his bullet-riddled apartment. Kevin sees his neighbor being taken away by an
these movie
ambulance as
recaps
passersby
right here.
recognize him.
Very
The man
good
has to run to
for getting
Russo's Vika
straight to the
Theater.
point,
He sits in the
highlighting little
chair,
things,
finds Molly, and
let
enters
you
the
know if you
coordinates of
wanna
her
watch the
reality
movie
into
or
his
not,
device.
you know.
And
That way
immediately
you
he
ain't
finds
wasting
himself
2
in a
hours.
large store where his
You
wife is
get
walking
caught
with
up in
friends.
like 10 minutes,
He cries
you
from
know
happiness
exactly
at
if you
seeing
wanna
her,
watch
but the
movie or
woman
not.
reminds him that the collapse of their marriage was initiated by him. She has found someone else and is happy. Then he sees his pendant and admits that he believes in the possibility of restoring their past relationship. Suddenly, Benefactor returns Kevin to the totalitarian universe in Russo's Vika Theater, and right there next to him is Tina. Satan shows Kevin Molly crying after their meeting and reminds him that he can still bring her back. But in the corner, a broken Tina is weeping, and only Kevin can decide whom and where to return. Benefactor delivers a speech about God, who always lies, promising but fulfilling nothing and allowing such terrible things to be done to people. And suddenly Russo hears the meowing of his cat. She has indeed returned. Kevin laughs at this and remembers all the good that exists in this world, and he decides to give Tina back her life, foregoing personal happiness. Tina's parents embrace their newly found daughter, and Benefactor grabs a gun and points it at Kevin, but as soon as Kevin forgoes personal temptations, that is, frees himself from the shackles of Satan who eternally tempts people, he is instantly transferred to a reality where Molly is a nurse and a single mother whom he had seen before. He strikes up a conversation, repeating their first meeting, and they fall in love and marry again. He accepts her daughter as his own and later plays with their newborn son. In the epilogue, Kevin says that although this is not his universe, it is now his home, where he has received twice as much as he lost. Inexpensive, but well-written, directed and acted science fiction that turns out to be more of a mystical drama with a religious message. The film is full of allusions to the Bible and direct quotes from the Book of Job, and the conclusion is made in the spirit of this.
It's time to start my second life! The farming life that I wished for!
The day comes when a highly advanced extraterrestrial civilization sends to Earth a subatomic artificial intelligence, which covers the planet like a dome to slow down the scientific progress of humanity.
You've got me because they let you. You have no idea what they can do.
The year is 1966. In China, a young physicist named Wen Jie witnesses the murder of her father, accused of counter-revolution and belief in God. She herself is arrested. London, 2024. A strategic intelligence inspector responds to a call. A renowned physicist has voluntarily ended his life, leaving a note on the wall of his apartment. It was a countdown. Meanwhile, at Oxford University, a particle accelerator test is underway. The project leader, Vera, tries to send her colleague Saul home as the development is being shut down. Lately, voices of renowned scientists claiming that physics is not a science have been increasingly heard, which depresses the young scientist. Unexpectedly, Vera asks him about his belief in God, and upon receiving a negative answer, she goes to the huge reactor and throws herself down. Later, two friends, Augie and Jin, who are also scientists, discuss the strange events happening around the world. Saul recently sent a bizarre video recording of a phenomenon that is simply inexplicable from a physics standpoint. Watching the recording, Augie suddenly notices a strange flickering before her eyes. At the same time, the inspector is also puzzled by the strange deaths and notices 5 talented young scientists whom the deceased Vera once sought worldwide and involved in her research. A memorial service for the deceased woman begins in the church. Vera's friends and students express their condolences to her mother when Augie arrives. The girl still doesn't understand what is happening to her and what the flickering numbers before her eyes mean, and she suffers from it. The inspector also follows the ceremony and manages to film an elderly gentleman whom none of the attendees know. After the funeral, Augie goes out to smoke. She sits on the steps in a quiet alley, but her lighter is broken. Suddenly, a girl appears next to her, offering her own lighter and starting a conversation about life and God. Augie even takes her for a recruiter to a sect, but then the girl suddenly offers to stop the countdown ticking before Augie. All she needs to do is shut down her nanofiber research project, and tomorrow at exactly 12 o'clock in the night sky, she will see the universe winking. Then the recruiter leaves. We are shown again the year 1967. After her arrest, Wen Jie is sent to a secret radar base, where she will have to serve for the rest of her life. In the present time, the inspector manages to find out that the owner of an oil corporation, a very wealthy man named Evans, was present at Vera's funeral. But tracking his helicopter was unsuccessful. Another oddity emerged. One of the deceased scientists had a very strange, shiny helmet, which intelligence failed to obtain. Meanwhile, Vera's mother gives the same helmet to Jin, who came to visit the woman. And then it turns out that Vera's mother is the same Wen Jie who was arrested in the 20th century in China. Later, Jin puts on the helmet and is transported to virtual reality. She finds herself in the middle of a desert, over which the hot sun quickly rises. Trying to hide from it, the girl steps on something that turns out to be the dried remains of a person. She gets scared, takes off the helmet, and returns to reality. And Ogi and Saul go outside this night, and at exactly midnight, the sky suddenly begins to flicker, as if the universe was indeed winking at people. Saul realizes that Ogi sees the numbers of the countdown to her death. In the morning, Ogi arrives at the Institute, and just before the start of the quantum experiment, she orders to turn off the equipment, and immediately the flashing numbers before her eyes disappear. The action again shifts to 1967. Wen Jie learns that her colleagues are actually searching for ways to send signals to the inhabitants of extraterrestrial worlds. She calculates the trajectory and suggests sending it directly to the sun. Reflected from the sun, the signal is greatly amplified and reaches the far corners of space. But being forbidden, the girl does it at her own risk. In the present time, the inspector shows Augie a video recording of her conversation with the stranger, who is not present in the video. It can be seen how a cigarette is lit, how Augie talks to someone, but there is no interlocutor, and there are no signs of editing. The inspector tells Augie about the flickering numbers, which were seen by other physicists around the world. Jin puts on the virtual reality helmet again and finds herself on the first level of a strange game. A man and a girl approach her, asking her to solve the puzzle of this world and lead her to a distant pyramid where a king is waiting for them. It is the era of chaos now, and the king needs to know exactly when the era of order will come. Besides Jin, the king has other scientists, but the one who guesses correctly wins. And if she is wrong, an entire civilization will perish. But then above the pyramid, the scorching sun rises. The man pulls her into shelter, while the girl remains under the rays of the sun and instantly dries up, turning into a bundle of flesh. The man gives it to Jin, explaining that in this form, the body can live until the era of order. The woman returns to reality and decides to ask for advice from a scientist and her friend, Rooney. He puts on the helmet and also finds himself in another reality, but the guard of the game beheads him, explaining that he was not invited. Frightened, Rooney takes off the helmet. He is sure that such technologies simply do not exist on Earth. While the pair discusses the game, the inspector listens to their conversations. Rooney, returning home, finds a package with a helmet and an invitation to the game. He finds himself in Old England and behaves quite rudely with the sir who meets him. Later, he excitedly tells his friend Will about it, and Will confesses that he is dying of cancer. Jin returns to the game and stands before the king, where her rival tries to guess the date of the beginning of order. She opposes guessing, as it is anti-scientific, but the predictor insists on his own and names a date. Then the predictor fast-forwards time to the era of order to test his mystical theory, and the day comes when the time of order arrives, and it is possible to bring the dried bodies back to life. Jin sees how the guards throw similar bundles, like the one she has from the girl, into the water. Once in the water, they quickly absorb moisture and turn into living people. Her girl also comes to life. Everyone rejoices in the newly found life, but suddenly the sun begins to recede and a snowstorm hits the people. They try to save themselves, but freeze and shatter into pieces. Shocked, Jin remains alone in the middle of the icy desert. The appearing game guard explains that this civilization perished from the cold. Jin couldn't save them, but she established the superiority of science over mysticism so she can move on to the second level. The inspector reports to his boss Wade that in the 20th century, observatories around the world caught a strange signal, and one of them was the Chinese observatory. And in those years, the future millionaire Evans lived right there. It was then that Evans and Wen Jie met and realized that their views were very similar. On the same day, Wen Jie received a signal from space in which a representative of a highly developed extraterrestrial civilization introduced himself as a pacifist and urgently asked not to send signals into space because other civilizations would come and conquer their world. Reading this appeal, Wenjie, embittered by the unjust death of her father, sent a signal into space inviting them to come to Earth and put things in order, because people cannot do it themselves. The action again shifts to the present time. Augie finds an alien virtual reality helmet in Rooney's house. She immediately tries on the strange toy and ends up in England, where she immediately dies at the hands of the game guard, as she was not invited. She rushes to her friends and learns that 2 of them are already participating in the game. Augie is sure that this thing hacks the brain and asks her friends not to play anymore. But the pair, despite the promise, enters a simultaneous game. On the second level, they find themselves in England, where the same girl meets them. Here they are received by the Holy Pope, who also wants to know what era is coming. Jin scientifically proves that the planet that needs to be saved has 3 suns. When the planet revolves around one sun, the time of order comes. But the gravity of the other 2 suns pulls it off its orbit, and the time of chaos begins. The Pope does not like her conclusions and orders to burn the heretic, but then flames erupt outside, and a girl on a burning horse rides into the church. She screams that there are 3 suns in the sky and the world is perishing. Jin and Rooney are saved because they were right, as confirmed by the game guard. The civilization perished, but they understood the structure of this world system, so they can move on to the next level. The inspector realizes that the game is a tool for recruitment and searching for the best minds. Meanwhile, Augie receives a warning of dismissal if she does not return to quantum research. And the scientist decides to resume experiments, but again the countdown to her demise appears. After that, Augie finally stops the experiments. Jin and Rooney find themselves on the 3rd level of the game at the residence of Kublai Khan, in front of which his warriors are lined up. Jin tells the Khan that this task is unsolvable, but another scientist begins to prove it, which is helped by giant human abacuses. 30 million soldiers turn flags to one of 2 sides. Rooney immediately understands. These are 1s and 0s. This is a human computer. The program for calculating solar orbits is launched, from which it follows that the era of order will come in 8 months. After fast-forwarding time to check the theory, the Khan, believing his court scientist, orders to throw the arriving pair into boiling water. But suddenly 3 suns line up in a row, and the era of chaos begins. The civilization perishes again despite all the calculations of the court scientist. And then Jin realizes the goal of the game is not to save the planet, but to save the people. The game guard appears, confirming her conclusions, and invites them to the next level. Evans is informed about 2 new promising players, and he orders them to be invited to a meeting. After that, he returns to the conversation with the aliens, whom Evans calls the Lord. Evans tells the aliens a fairy tale about Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf, from which the aliens conclude that humans have lost their survival instinct since they have made contact with another civilization from deep space. The man reminds that it was done by one woman, and the Lord, after a pause, decides that fearlessness leads to extinction. Therefore, humanity must learn to fear. Jin and Rooney meet the recruiter, who congratulates them on advancing to the next level. Jin has realized the purpose of the game, and the answers to the rest of the questions will be found on the 4th level. The pair puts on the helmets and finds themselves in a desert. The game guard and the girl inform them that Jin was right. The 3-body problem has no solution. Having 3 suns, the planet is inevitably doomed. Therefore, they decided to look for a new home. They built thousands of starships, and this is the last hope of their civilization. But without the help of Earthlings, they cannot survive, and the girl asks people to help her kind. The puzzled people take off their helmets, and the recruiter confirms that this is all reality. The aliens, the Santi, are already heading here, and they created the game to tell Earthlings their story and prepare for the meeting with new neighbors. Rooney considers this a lie and refuses to play further, while Jin receives an invitation to the meeting. Meanwhile, Rooney returns home, not noticing that the inspector is following his house. Rooney goes up to the 2nd floor and suddenly sees the recruiter there, who pushes the guy onto a glass wall and kills him, and she disappears from the video. Friends learn about Rooney's death. The inspector reports that there is no image of the killer on any of the video cameras, and asks Jin to go to the meeting as a spy to arrest the killers of their friend. Later, the inspector reports that they found Evans's ship, on which he, along with 1,000 followers, has been living in international waters for the last 30 years. That's why he is so hard to track down. At the same moment, Evans receives a warning from the Lord that his enemies know about the upcoming meeting. But there is no need to fear. His people will be protected. Evans calls the enemies pests, which he has to explain to the aliens because they associate this word with bugs that can be simply crushed. Remembering the fairy tale about Little Red Riding Hood read to him by Evans, the Lord concludes that all humans lie, and they cannot coexist with liars. They are afraid of people. The Lord falls silent and no longer responds to Evans. Jin goes to the appointed place to meet with the followers of the aliens. The founder of their movement is invited to the stage, and Jin is surprised to see Wenjie. The woman begins her speech, promising salvation from the Santi, who will arrive in 400 years. But they need to prepare the Earth so that the aliens can receive it as a gift. In the midst of her speech, the police burst into the room. Wenjie orders her people to obey, but when the recruiter sees the police taking Jin away, she realizes that the scientist is a traitor and opens fire. Chaos ensues, people die, but their leader Wenjie calmly watches it. Jin finds the inspector and takes her away. The detainees are put into cars, not noticing that the recruiter is not among them, who will return to the story later. On one of the days, the inspector interrogates Wenjie, who confesses to receiving a warning from the aliens and sending them an invitation to Earth, as humanity is incapable of saving itself. The Lord, that is, the aliens, allowed her to be captured because apparently she is no longer of any use. Evans turned out to be Vera's father, and Jin is needed by them because she is considered the best physicist. After Wade's report, they conclude that Evans must have kept all records of his negotiations with the aliens. But how to capture his ship? It's clear that while the special forces will be storming the ship, Evans will simply destroy all the evidence. And the ship is just approaching the Panama Canal, with the Lord still not making contact. The inspector asks Augie to help the government and resume the production of nanofibers. Together, they go to her laboratory, and the girl turns on the equipment. Contrary to her fear, the countdown to her demise in the case of developing ultra-strong nanofibers does not appear. Later, Wade, with the help of a team of naval soldiers, installs the system developed by Augie on the shore of the Panama Canal, disguising it as old columns. The girl suffers from a guilty conscience because of the children and women on board, but Wade reminds her of the fate of all humanity. And then the ship enters the canal. On Augie's command, columns with invisible, ultra-strong nanofiber strings rise above the water, but no visible effect is observed. And when the military already thinks that the technology does not work, the invisible strings start cutting everything that comes under them. The invisible death destroys metal and bodies with equal relentlessness. Evans, realizing that something terrible is happening, manages to take the disc with the recording of the negotiations, but dies in the ship's hold. The ship is carried ashore, where it crumbles into a huge burning heap. Later, the wreckage is searched, and the disc is found at Evans's corpse. Specialists of the administration try to decrypt it, and when they are already in despair, it suddenly opens. And the aliens themselves did it. Wade tells Wenjie everything, who is still confident that the aliens will help the Earthlings. And then the man lets her listen to the recordings of Evans's conversations with the aliens. The woman hears with horror that the aliens cannot live with humans because humans are liars. Later, Wade brings Jin to headquarters to show her the decrypted materials about a mysterious Sophon. In the movie plot, this is an elementary subatomic particle capable of moving at the speed of light. The woman suggests the chief put on a helmet, and they find themselves in a desert where they are awaited by the game's guardian. She says that the aliens are not at all like humans, and also reports that their species is doomed. They have to fly to Earth for another 400 years, but during this time, humans will manage to create the newest weapon capable of destroying the aliens, because progress on Earth moves at a speed unimaginable for their species. After all, the Earth's world is stable, unlike the constantly dying planet Santi. That's why they decided to destroy Earth science, for which they invented Sophon. There are more than 3 dimensions in the universe, which are folded in such a way that they are not visible, but Santi has the technology to unfold them. They focus unimaginable energy for humans on one proton and open it in a higher dimension, after which it becomes gigantic. And using this technology, Santi created artificial intelligence the size of an entire planet and reduced it to the size of an elementary particle. And now Sophon is demonstrating its capabilities on Earth. All of Santi's resources went into creating 4 Sophons. each pair of which are connected by the effect of quantum entanglement. 2 remained with Santi, 2 were sent to Earth. Everything that people see and hear, the aliens see and hear simultaneously, even if they are separated by light years. Sophons have almost no mass and they are easy to accelerate to the speed of light. So they recently reached Earth and infiltrated all the laboratories where the planet's best minds work. So soon, science will be destroyed because instead of truth, people see wonders. The world is entangled in illusions. People see what Santi wants to show them. They are everywhere and constantly observe processes, revealing human lies. So soon, Earthlings will learn to be afraid again. Jin and Wade take off their helmets and exit virtual reality. Around the world, gadgets start to turn off. A message appears on all video panels calling people bugs, and the sky is covered with an unknown substance which transforms into something resembling a huge eye. And only the wounded but alive recruiter rejoices at this. Upon learning that aliens were heading towards Earth, the world was thrown into turmoil. Riots broke out, which the police and the army had to quell. Despite assurances that the aliens would not arrive for another 400 years, Earthlings are preparing to declare that they are not bugs. Funds are being organized everywhere to raise money to fight the aliens, although some believe in Santi's good intentions. On one such day, the inspector brings scientist Jin to Wenjie, who concludes that the professor is simply a traitor to the human race. Under the leadership of Wade, the main headquarters for the defense of humanity is being set up. He gathers the best scientists on the planet and announces the start of the war with Santi. Despite the aliens having sophons, humans have a chance. The first thing to do is to gather information, for which a probe will be sent to meet the Santi fleet. But for this, its speed must be no less than 1% of the speed of light. Hearing that scientists do not believe in such a possibility, Wade summons Jin and gives her the task of developing such a probe. And the girl does it. She arrives at the headquarters and demonstrates her idea. The probe must have a sail and get acceleration by following a predetermined trajectory where nuclear charges will be waiting for it. Of course, this will be very expensive, but it is possible. Meanwhile, stores start selling out of products, and enterprising merchants have announced the sale of stars to collect money from billionaires. One day, friends gather at the home of Will, who is dying of cancer, trying to cheer him up. However, Jin has another goal, to persuade Ogi to create a sale of ultra-strong nanofibers for her probe, which her friend categorically does not want to do. But after Will's intervention, Ogi changes her mind, as the friend is convinced that it is being done for the common good. Jin realizes that the probe, upon reaching the Santi fleet, will not be able to slow down, to which Wade declares that the aliens will simply take it, as they will send in it a human head, that is, a brain. Later, Wade invites scientists to the laboratory, where a Russian scientist shows the results achieved by cryofreezing. The chimpanzee subjected to it wakes up safely and even demonstrates an intact intellect, after which Wade finally reveals his plan. He will go into freezing and will wake up from time to time to check how his plan for preparing to save humanity is going. At this time, Augie develops a new technology that allows making a huge and strong canvas of nanofibers, which will allow Jin's idea to be realized. The time comes when it is necessary to decide on the choice of the first person who will go to meet the aliens. A physicist scientist who is ready for death is needed. It turns out that Wade has long been thinking about Will's candidacy, who is dying anyway. Sometime later, Jin comes to Will and tries to dissuade him from participating in the flight, but the guy wants to bring some benefit with his death. Meanwhile, Wenjie confesses to Saul that her daughter died when she found out that her mother had called the aliens to Earth. Then she says goodbye and leaves forever. Will undergoes tests and refuses to sign the oath of allegiance to humanity. What if the Santi turn out to be better than people think? But it turns out that Wade needed a candidate loyal to the aliens so that they would definitely take him aboard. The wounded recruiter hides in a lonely trailer in the forest, and one day the game warden addresses her from the TV screen.
Crazy. What happened?
The Lord has not forgotten his followers, and there will be an important task for her. One day, Saul goes to see off a friend, and when they stop briefly, a scooter flies at the guy. Saul falls and thus is saved from being hit by a car that has lost control. Later, the inspector informs him that in China, the recruiter killed Wenjie, and now there was an attempt on him, although Saul has no idea who needs it. Nevertheless, the inspector forces him to put on a bulletproof suit and takes him to the UN office, where the guy learns that today the launch of the program developed by Wade called Empty Gaze will be announced. The thing is that the alien Sophons can see and hear literally everything, but they are not able to penetrate a person's thoughts. Therefore, the management has chosen several people who will plan the strategy of victory, not revealing it to anyone. They will receive unlimited resources and will be able to carry out any ideas not contradicting the laws. Saul learns that he is one of the participants in the Empty Gaze project and tries to refuse this honor, but the UN leader assures that there is no mistake and leaves. But at the exit to the building, he is shot at. Only the bulletproof suit saves him. Later, Saul asks to bring the killer to him. It turns out that this is a follower of the aliens, and he did it by order of the Lord's army. Saul still tries to refuse the position, but he seems to be not heard. Moreover, the UN...
I feel like you got this for sure. Especially on like the appealing stuff. And copyrights and everything. You feel me? Because I be doing a bunch of wild ass shit. And I don't know why in the hell my things are able to pass through. But I'm happy for it. Either way. But yeah, that's wild. I don't know. I haven't gotten one yet, so that's why it's like, or it will strike at all. That's why I don't know. I just, yeah, that's crazy. I guess I'm just kind of, I'm always interested to hear what to avoid, you know, what to look out for. That way I can kind of learn off of everybody else without making the mistakes or without accidentally, you know, like messing shit up, you know. But yeah, let me know. Also, I like your little picture. Alright, well, let's get back to the end of the story, and then let's get to some, let's get to the end of the story. I'm gonna turn off this camera because I'm knocking down this cereal. These munchies are hitting. Guidelines again. Yeah, and then too, whenever you're on your YouTube studio, like, do you ever go over it and then like check exactly what it is that's messing up the video? Like, you can do it inside your app, I'm pretty sure. Hold on, let me see. Let me move that to the side. Let me go to a live, and then I'll go to a yellow one. Like, and most of them are, see, this one says partially, and then you can go to the little viewing thing, click on that shit, and then review the issue, and it'll take you to exactly what it was. You feel me? And then just click on that, and then if it is for like a certain song, oh my bad, if it is for a certain song or something, right after you click on the live or whatever one is on there that's giving you the issue, it'll give you the button to either mute that segment, trim that segment out, or, you know, just dispute it in general. You feel me? I be disputing a lot, or I just straight trim it out or mute it. That's how come I'm able to put up so many lives and stuff and the copyrights. And then you'll start to notice which ones are kind of okay for you to play and which ones aren't, and then you'll start to build a list from that. But I'm pretty sure, hey, you probably know hella more than me. I just be chilling. Alright, let's get to this.
Secretary declares that no one knows why exactly he was chosen. Strange, of course, and who should know then? Then Saul asks to be taken to the Cosmodrome to see off Will. More precisely, what's left of him, his brain. And the recruiter finds an alien virtual reality helmet in her trailer and puts it on. Meanwhile, Will's head is placed in a probe that is preparing for takeoff. All 300 bombs are lined up in orbit and the countdown begins. And the launch is made. At first, everything goes according to plan. The first stages were dropped, the nanoparachute was activated, acceleration begins. The first explosion was successful, the second and third too. And suddenly there is an accident on the probe and it deviates from the trajectory. Jin is in despair and Wade leaves, whispering something to her. Later, he is on a plane where the game warden comes to him. The aliens recognized him as a strong leader, and when they arrive, he will be part of their plan. They will always be nearby and will show him what he wants to see until his death. In the evening, Jin and Sol grieve by the pool when the inspector appears, orders them both to get into the car, and takes them to a place where an incredible number of bugs live. Because bugs are the ones who always survive, although they are poisoned and crushed. So the inspector suggests drinking to the bugs. And that's where the first season ends. The series is based on the first book by Liu Cixin from the Three Body Problems series. The world has already seen the Chinese version of the series, but Netflix loves to make
Just let me know. You know I'm out this old fashioned, right?
They pop, I learned to rock. Picking cops harassing me, can suck my cock. Jiggy jack my style, cause you know I do pop. Bending lies and shit, then after take my props. Anyways, gotta thank God for another day. I'm in the hood, but I'm headed to a better place. Rocking all stars, fitted chucks in my pro club. Dropping bombs on the mic like a soldier. On the blocks with a cop, shady off top. Hating on the kid, cause I'm brown, making shit pop. I be that lyrical, original criminal when I came to bring the bucket. So fuck it, dog, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sticking on like a resin, 4 fingers too twisted in the middle's what I'm rapping. Steady mic checking, every millisecond. Change in my pocket, that's less what I'm betting. CNG make the booty go bounce. Serve you motherfuckers like beans with an ounce. So bounce originated from the California ditches. I be the smooth operator with the business. Who the hell wanna fuck with the kid? Give a damn what you claim, give a fuck what you did. Scrawny ass kid with a flow Glock 9 on the blocks where he died. Trick the city, I ain't lying. Too many homies that be dying off a race color. I ain't a G, but that shit gotta stop, brothers. Come to my block to sip all Coronas. Posted in the hood and long the man is on the corner. I be the smooth operator telling haters see you later. Smooth operator telling haters see you later. I be the smooth operator telling haters see you later. I'm just a good kid that grew up in the
Don Alpha. The top hat.
Wait, this nigga Martin made this shit, bro?
I'm finna flex my authority. Damn. Baby, let me holler at you briefly, this'll be quick. I'm Don Alpha and the holder of some secrets. And I can see some things in you that you're not seeing.
For real.
Don't get me wrong, I know that looks can be deceiving. It won't be long until these words are holding meaning. So bitch, come on, get your belongings and we leaving. It's not enough. They gave it all they had, but it's just not enough. Oh wait, what's back in Mafia? I'm still a feral in its purest form, stop it, blood. We got pipes, we got knives, we can squabble up. Only game get exchanged when we chop it up. 9 times out of 10, I'm probably off of some. I slammed the back door closed cause I saw it coming. Oh, yeah, hold the fuck on. Pussy good, my face grunt, she say what's wrong? If you riding with me, bitch, you better come on. She's an adult entertainer, B, I'm Chuck Holmes. Alejandro just showed up out of nowhere with a pretty ass bitch and some long hair. Look, he finna go there. I should've never showed him what my power really was. Damn, baby, let me holler at you briefly, this'll be quick. I'm Don Alpha and the holder of some secrets. And I can see some things in you that you're not seeing.
For real.
Don't get me wrong, I know that looks can be deceiving. It won't be long until these words are holding meaning. So bitch, come on, get your belongings and we leaving. I am the showboater. She gotta move a certain way or else I don't want her. She gotta do the things I say or get the cold shoulder. San Diego, California, I'm the sole owner. Plus tax, top hats, and some high heels. Ain't nobody fucking with this, that's how I feel. I come around and clutching pistols cause they uneasy. Cause all I do is make a call and someone got killed. Politicking, I ain't into that, too much talking. We in the field where killers at, creeping, duck walking. Walk up close enough that I can wipe some dust off them. And when you hear the pulley buzz, just know it's something awful. My getaway driver was a pretty little bitch. I told her that I need to trust her, is she with this shit? I told her there can't be no doubt, not a little bit. I gotta be more careful with my affiliates. Damn, baby, let me holler at you briefly, this'll be quick. I'm Don Alpha and the holder of some secrets. And I can see some things in you that you're not seeing. For real. Don't get me wrong, I know that looks can be deceiving. It won't be long until these words are holding meaning. So bitch, come on, get your belongings and we leaving.
I don't know why, no, I don't know why, no, this how I live my life, yeah, this how I live my life, yeah, being watched from the sky, yeah, being watched from the sky, yeah, I'm asking God why, yeah, this how I live my life.
Tuck, I got an album or a bang.
Hey, I like this beat, man. This is sweet time beat. This is sweet time beat, y'all. Look. I know a nigga wrong, I ain't tryna be right. Me, I take risks, you wouldn't know about this life. I'm riding with a gun, but to me it's something light. I move how I move, you don't like it, bye. Even though you pretty guy, that don't mean you can't die. Keep it to a little nigga, they gon' make your mom cry. I came a long way, serving white, ain't no bite. Now they break the neck when they see me pass by. I got my mind on this money, I'll leave a bitch on red. She ain't like me then, I ain't get her pussy wet. You be in her DM, she be in my bed. I don't trust a soul, do she like me on my bread? I said I was gonna stop, but I just popped another egg. Remember being broke, why you thinking nigga flex? And bitch, I'm on the road, I'm sorry, I ain't sent no text. Do you love me cause I'm me or do you love me cause I'm next? I did what I did, look, I came a long way. I do it for my people, it ain't even about the fame. I was down bad, had to go and put my chain. They see me on the stage, rather see me in the grave. I'll probably lag on a bitch, but never lag on no bag. Before I bought a whip, I wanna go and buy a strap. Get up in my way, get wet. I got a chunky ass Glock, why you think my pants sag? Know a nigga wrong, I ain't tryna be right. Me, I take risks, you wouldn't know about this life. I'm riding with a gun, but to me it's something light. I move how I move, you don't like it, bye. Even though you pretty guy, that don't mean you can't die. Keep it to a little nigga, they gon' make your mom.
only choice. Be a man or plan to never have shit. I chose the hustle. Knowing money and muscle was the key to taking my every dream and make it reality. My every need, everything I'd ever hope for. Granted with just a snap, my genie a clip in the strap. All nighters on the track, just trying to get it right. Through these eyes, see so much, it's like I'm stuck in this life. But fuck it, I'ma always do whatever it takes. My way of thinking, keeping me a step ahead of the face. So many stakes, but as expected, stakes too high to expose. Like you can't say and fuck a plan, I'm just gonna follow my nose and do whatever comes natural to a dog in these streets. See, it's a cold world, that's why I'm coming at it with heat. Why there's this chip on my shoulder? Why I'm so hated by rollers? A title holder with no fear. Now who the fuck want a shot? Sick of stories getting twisted into shit that it's not. But that's my life. Drama getting too thick to avoid. I went from trust, got fucked, leaving me faced with no choice.
Gotta change, but I probably never will. I got addicted to the game and I got used to my steel pressure reading like a gauge, saying next, so it's fed up heart racing like a beast. When I creep through the streets, never worried about nothing. XOB all that, never tripping niggas bluffing with their hands on this trap. I adapted to this game. Fuck peace, I'd rather pack one, Lord, I'm attack one of these motherfuckers acting dumb. I'll go schizo, like my nigga Psycho from Chico. I don't know why niggas fuck around knowing I'm loco. I'm black and Brazilian on these popos, I ride for East Coco. Motherfuckers know my stilo, I'm living in hell. Sharper than stinking a pistol, you ain't showing no love, so I'm showing no love back. I'm heartless, flashing like Kodak. My strap launching missiles till I'm pushing your skull back. You know about the East Bay niggas, we love that. We love to hear guns bust and love to hear bones crack. Whatever happens, happens. My pistol go black, black. I'm lost in this game, trying to stay sane. You heard that? Till the day I'm dead. I'll show you shit you wish you never seen. I thought I'd grow to be a star, but that was just a dream. Thugged out throughout the drought, trying to do it big. My fiends falling off, time to do some newer shit. My girl went bad just when I thought I knew the bitch. I knew I just should've never fucked with her. My new bitch got a 30-round clip in her ass. Catch them humble boys slipping while they clipping they plans. We go to club, but we never dance, cause I wait outside when them boys pass. And I get dumb, cause I'm a fucking fool. You smoke killer, but you never smoked a nigga, so listen to me, boy, this is true shit. When you a true nigga, this is what the drill is. Deal hop, deal Chris, nigga, feel this. You got pissed, then fire up with your folks. Holding on to my dreams till my Nike's no longer walking on this earth. I know nobody's just like me, been a prophet since birth. I seen a lot and done a lot, been known to use my gun a lot. And when the cops got me locked, never been the one to talk, assume the phone number's hot. Always keeping on the spot, almost all that I was taught. I learned it from the yacht, kicking dust, still chaotic living, learning as I went. Tipping suds, up addicted, always yearning for a sip to take the edge. Our sobriety just ain't my cup of tea, my heart is set. Garbage church never did nothing for me. You can catch me in the street Sunday morning, holding heat. Exit in the liquor store with the 40 of OD. My mother tried scolding me. Growing up and didn't work, the judge tried holding me, but y'all just made me more berserk. They say a menace to society. I ain't a menace, I'm a threat to society. Defined till I'm finished. Till the day I'm dead. Keep holding on.
Step one, you say we need to talk. He walks, you say sit down, it's just talk. He smiles politely back at you. You stare politely right on through some sort of window to your right. As he goes left and you stay right between the lines of fear and blame. You begin to wonder why you came. Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along in the bitterness, and I put out, stayed up with you all night. Had I known how to save a life. Let him know that you know best, 'cause after all you do know best. Try to slip past his defense without granting innocence. Lay down a list of what is wrong, the things you told him all along. Pray to God he hears you, and pray to God he hears you. And where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along in the bitterness, and I put out, stayed up with you all night. And I know how to save a life. As he begins to raise his voice, you lower yours, grant him one last choice. Drive until you lose the road, a break with the ones you follow. He will do one of two things. He will admit to everything, or he'll say he's just not the same, and you'll begin